Welcome to this wonderful platform. If it is your first time of stopping by or coming across this channel for the first time, you are welcome. Please, if you like what you see here, after watching, subscribe, put on your notification bell. It's very, very important because it's going to help you to know when I upload a new video. In this channel, I present to you news on daily basis on what is happening in the whole world, especially in Nigeria and in Biafra land. Yes, I'm Mother Biafra. I bring to you Biafra news. So before I do that, what I always do is that I analyze it and I sit down there to watch the video together with you. Then we'll come to the comment section to talk about it. Of course, everybody is entitled to his or her opinion. That is why the comment section is there for you to contribute, leave your ideas, your thoughts, your belief about the videos that you have watched. Please, as we are doing this, let us do it constructively. As we hop into today's video, remain blessed. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate your massive support in this channel as we watch.
In particular, and Nigerians in general, the onslaught of attacks on government-owned facilities was something to worry about. But the caucus didn't say much at the time. Was there a reason for this?
No, not exactly, but you know, we have levels of leadership everywhere, including Igbo land. We have the Ohaneze. We also have the Governors Forum, and then we have church leaders as well. So we expected them to take the responsibility of not just speaking out, but trying to douse those tensions. Well, of course, they tried, within the limits, of expectations and their powers. So, but unfortunately, we viewed with regrets that people didn't hit to some of their calls for restraint, including the federal government and indeed some of our people. So it got a point where it appears that things were getting very, very bad. And so it appears that nobody was listening to each other. So we felt as a representative of the people, it is time for us to also try and intervening, take it from where our other leaders stopped.
The timing of your meeting and your communique was quite strategic. Exactly a week after the president visited the Southeast. Was it deliberate?
Well, there was a conversation between people, especially Ohaneze and the president. Personally, some of us were not there. I was not there because the meeting took place the same day we had our National Executive Committee meeting on the PDP. So most of the PDP leaders were in Abuja. So most of us were not there. So I'm not sure what was agreed. But it absolutely has nothing to do with the meeting at all.
Would you have been there, assuming you didn't have the PDP meeting?
Well, Johannes invited me to that meeting, so I would have been happy to be there. Anything that concerns our people concerns me as well. But because we have a commitment to the party meeting we had that same day, and because other leaders will be there, so because they can speak for all of us, so we decided, some of us in PDP, to attend the National Executive Committee and allow those our colleagues, our friends and our brothers in APC and Ohaneze and some church leaders to go and represent us.
The wordings of your communique were quite instructive. I'd like to read out a particular paragraph. You say you express solidarity with our people in the Southeast over the marginalization of the region in the scheme of things within the Nigerian Commonwealth. The caucus feels the pains of our people and their quest for equity, justice and protection of their lives and property in every part of the country. So the caucus therefore resolved to continue to fight for a level playing ground and an enabling federal system where Indigo is able to develop their homeland at their pace and equally pursue their happiness and actualize their enormous potential in every part of the country unmolested. Now, I don't know, reading through this, one would think that there is a deliberate plan by the Nigerian state to marginalize the Southeast. Is this what the Southeast, the caucus is trying to communicate, or is this just a feeling among Southeasterners?
You see, the people of the Southeast, they are used to a communal life. To them, communal life means living together with everybody. Anywhere you go in this country, you see an Igbo man. And now, over many years, you see that there's a shift in accommodation they've had with their host communities, host cities, and all of that. So people started coming home. Most of our people who were born in the North, they never know any other place except the North, as their home. So we integrated every part of Nigeria. And this has been why our people, feel free wherever they go, and then establish their business and all of that. Now, we now have a government, which we believe should be able to protect every Nigerian, no matter where you live. So this is one aspect of it. But we didn't see that because some people were chased out of their businesses, chased out of their homes outside Igbo land. So they returned home. Now, as if that was not enough, we believe that the Constitution made provision for federal character in appointments. We also believe that the government is about the people and people, everybody. We also believe that once the election is over, what remains is leadership. So we expected leadership from the present regime that will accommodate everybody. Because where there is peace, there's progress. And where there's injustice, you don't expect peace. So we felt that our people had been kept out of the corridors of power over this period, especially in the security sector. So we expect that security sector, every part of Nigeria should be represented. Because if you are discussing about security of the country, there must be people who will be able to give perspective in respect of their own region or the area in the discussion. So they'll be able to take an aggregate view of all that's happening.
With regards to security, every part of the country has felt its own pain of insecurity in recent times. In fact, we've seen southern governors profile some solutions in terms of coming up with some, they say it's not regional security outfit, but we continue to say it's a regional security effort in trying to bring peace. So when you say that Southeasterners did not feel safe in parts of the country, and even at home right now, because when we talk about the security situation in the Southeast, we're referring specifically to the Southeast. Is it as a result of the agitations? Because some Nigerians seem to take exception to how the agitations in the Southeast have now taken shape.
You see, that's what I said. The fact that they left other places and returned to their homes, and yet they are not safe. As a result of what? Why did they have to leave other places? Yes, because they are not secure in those places. That is very, very unfortunate. So the issue of insecurity all over Nigeria is not as if it's coming out of the blues. It's expected. So people like us have spoken about it for over 10 years now. And I kept saying that it's going to get worse. And it will keep getting worse because we're not doing the right thing. There are those who have blamed the elite. Yes. It's not the elite issue. No. It's the security architecture. Let me put this in context. Yes. There are those who have blamed the elite, that these agitations and feelings of marginalization started with the elite because, they have felt like they were out of the corridors of power and somewhat encouraged the agitators whom somehow now they cannot seem to control anymore. And the manner in which those agitators have gone about their business is beginning to cause ill feelings in other parts of the country. Do you agree with that assessment? Never. You see, the thing is this. What we are seeing in terms of agitation is a reaction to injustice. Right? Because any man who is unjustly treated is not going to be interested in peace. It's a reaction. So it's not the leaders of any particular country of any particular part of Nigeria that is telling the federal government to have a deliberate policy of excluding a whole region, from the corridors of power. No, I'm not sure there's any such conspiracy between the leaders of the Southeast and the federal government. We're talking about inclusivity, a situation where you have the army, the police, the air force, the navy, the immigration, prison, and all of that. And nobody from the South is considered good enough to hear any of this. It's an affront to the people. It affects their psychology. So I've read the delegation personally to other people of Nigeria. Yes. They have spoken against it. Why would those same people of Nigeria now begin to, make the Igbo feel unsafe in other parts of the country? No, it's not as if there's a conspiracy, of the people of Nigeria against the Igbos. No, certainly we have a lot of friends all over the place, right? Just as we too have felt the concerns, the worries of other people. I've gone to the Northeast to meet the people in the IDPs, and I explained to them that I was just quite young during the Civil War. I was barely 4 years, so I know what I went through. A lot of people of my age, so I can feel their pains. So we believe as well that whatever is happening in the Southeast also affects everybody in Nigeria. So, but we wanted the federal government to make a deliberate effort to ensure that the people of the Southeast feel wanted in Nigeria, and not having policies, and conducts that appear to be saying we are pushing you out of the country you belong, the country you beat with all the rest of all of us. Were the president's words assuring in that regards? Because he says he doesn't think that any Igbo man would feel like he or she is not Nigerian.
he doesn't know why anyone would feel that way, and that, you know, he made reference to the integration which you talked about, the fact that anywhere you go, you will always see an Igbo person. Did you find the president's words and visit reassuring?
What you say and what you do are two different things. I've told you, after the election in 2015, I took it upon myself to have a conversation with the president. In the presence of one of my friends, a senator from Katsina State, right? So we met with the president. I said, look, this election are divided more than any other election. I would like to see the president to have a conversation with the Southeast and South people over how they will feel integrated in your government. And he assured me he was going to have a meeting after the inauguration, but somehow that never took place. And when this issue of the Southeast complaints, I took the senators from the South, I had a conversation with them. I said, look, this is why my people are complaining. We didn't want to make it a media issue. We felt as leaders we can have a conversation on things that are consensus.
And you don't think that that is an elite conversation, let me put it that way? Because as you talked about, they say it's one thing to say, it's another thing to do. For some people, they say that when they assess what the president has done so far, especially in terms of infrastructural development, the Southeast has not had it as well under any other administration, regardless of how many people were in government under those administrations.
You see, it's not enough to put infrastructures and then they are not part of the decision making of the place, of the area, either the state or federal. So that's why we have representative government, so that every part will be there when decisions are being made. So assuming an Igbo man is president and maybe a partner, you just say Southwest, let me just use that for instance, and then you have a whole South with all the endowments, the education, the exposure, and you don't have one single person from the Southwest, you know, you can trust, you know, or be able to believe that he can handle any of the sectors of this country. How do you explain that?
Who point to this being an elite conspiracy point to it is because in the places where they have, or they supposedly have representation, those places, the human index in those places are really nothing to write home about, apart from where the sub-national level is doing what it needs to do in those areas to bring development home to those people. We have since mentioned the security situation in many parts of the country, not just in the southeast of the country. We've talked about, you say you've been to Maiduguri, you've been to the northeast of the country, and I'm sure that you must have seen how a lot of the people live in internally displaced persons camp.
Nobody's happy about that. Nobody, including myself.
Exactly. So if we were to swap it and say, for the people who have representation in government, for the people whose people are in government, have their people felt the impact of their people in government? Don't you think that that's a valid question to ask?
No, it's a different kettle of fish, whether they feel impact or not. I'm talking of inclusivity here, right? If you have children, and then you give preference to some of your children, and others feels left out, I'm sure as a father, I mean, you are not actually up to your responsibility, you know, for parenting those people, because you're able to take care of your children at least in equal manners. So the issue of parenting should be comprehensive, and that's what leadership in a country is like.
Okay, you liken it to parenting, but let me quickly talk about this, because your caucus also say that you're going to set up a committee to intervene on this matter, which is the matter of Nnamdi Kanu. What results are you hoping to get from your intervention?
Well, it's not easy to predict right now, but what I want to see is to reduce tension in the southeast. What I want to see is to make sure that the federal government understands the feeling of our people. What we want to see is for our young people to believe that their leaders are making a case for them at the highest level. You know, so but we expect that ultimately we'll find a way, a political solution, you know, in respect of the Nnamdi Kanu's problem. But I don't want to predict what will happen. But in the past, we've done the similar thing. When SH0CKING was detained by Obasanjo, he was in detention until Yar'Adua came. I led a delegation of my colleagues in the Senate. I had a conversation with the president, invited Andoka as Attorney General. Eventually, we ended up in a political solution, and SH0CKING was released. Same thing with Nnamdi Kanu. When he was detained, I also led a delegation to meet with the president. So we expect that just as we had some results in the past, including the release of Nnamdi and SH0CKING, maybe we should come up with something, that should be acceptable to all the...
On the sit-at-home order, it would seem that there was initial reluctance by government leaders in the Southeast to speak up on the matter, but in recent times, they have spoken up quite loudly. The question is whether the people are listening. Why do you think that there seems to be a reluctance on the part of the people to listen to their leaders with respect to the sit-at-home order?
Let me tell you, there is a break in communication between the people and the leaders. So that's an important thing to note here. So because of that, there's also a fear sector, fear factor rather. So because some people who are eager to come out cannot come out because they are not sure that government and security agencies will protect them. So they just have to stay at home. And remember, in the Southeast, their major occupation is commerce. So they live on daily bread. They go out and fend for themselves. So if you don't go to work on Saturday, you don't go to work on Sunday because you've gone to church, and on Monday again, you can't go out. So we believe that is not good for our people. That destroys an economy. That kills people. It breeds hunger and it entrenches poverty. So we now said, look, we can't continue in this way. So we need to appeal to our young people to reason with us, to be able to cover up these things. Good enough, the IPOP that started, they have said no more have anything to do with it. That these are sheer criminals who are now trying to take advantage of what we wanted to do earlier. So what we're going to do now is to ensure that Mondays and other such days, our people will come out and do their business.
The first thing you said was that there was a break in communication between the leader and the led.
Yes.
Would you also say it is a crisis of legitimacy amongst leaders?
I don't think it has to do legitimacy.
And IPOP leaders?
No, I don't think it's issue of legitimacy. It's a kind of difference, in approach, right? So the leaders rightly had believed that if there is anything going wrong, if there is issue of marginalization and injustice, we can talk about it. We will continue to push it. We don't want any kind of violence, because anybody that's killed in a circumstance will not rise again. So everybody believes there's an injustice, but it's a matter of approach. How do we resolve it? Do we continue a conversation or do we become violence? But the deep problem with the violence is that the violence is visited on us, our own people. So either our people visiting the violence, or the federal agencies are visiting the violence in reaction to what our young people are doing. Whichever way you look at it, we are losing.
Are you going to meet the president over this?
We hope to meet him at some point, yeah, definitely. After we've met with him several in the past over matters such as this. I'm sure he'll be happy to meet with us.
Your meeting is coming even as southern governors are also meeting as well, and they have also proposed their own. They've come out with a communique. They're saying that they want the presidency to come to the south, to the southern parts of the country, and this is the second time they're saying it. It would seem that they had to re-emphasize this particular point. I mean, the fact that they're still saying that it should come to the south, they haven't said what region it should go to. But do you support the stance of the southern governors?
These are our leaders. We'll stand by them. That's really for us. But remember that PDP has set up a zoning committee. So it will be prejudicial if we take a firm position on this matter as a party. Yes, they are talking as governors across party lines, which is good. But for us as a PDP, we would like to have a conversation on this subject. And that's why we set up a committee headed by my own governor, Right Honorable Ifeanyi Uwuanyi. We believe that they'll do the right thing.
Incidentally, the meeting held in your state.
Yeah.
You don't think that it already puts him in a bind?
I don't think so. My governor is not somebody who can put that kind of bind. No, he's not going to. I think he's a very reasonable person. So he's going to consult widely. He's not the only person in the committee anyway.
He's not the only person in the committee. He's not the only southern governor in the PDP there as well.
Of course, yes.
The PDP southern governors, are they not aware of what is happening within their party to say, you know what, southern governors, perhaps we should hold on this for now?
No. They are just reiterating what they said earlier. So it's nothing new.
Indeed.
They just say we still stand on the issue of a certain president.
Considering the developments in your party, because this talk around the possibility of it going back to the north has come mostly from your party. Don't you think that the southern governor should have expressed some reservations about that, considering the new developments that have come up in your party?
I don't believe the PDP are taking any such decision. No, if they have, they will set up a committee. But I've said that as a person, I stand with where our leaders will stand.
Are there any parts in your communique which you think that you're going to be taking up in the National Assembly, especially since you're a National Assembly caucus, and especially now that the National Assembly has just come back from recess?
Well, I think this is essentially our internal problem, which is security, in terms of security, the security of the lives and property in our area. The area that's related to it is the issue of policing, which I have personally sponsored a bill that's being considered at the level of the Constitutional Amendment Committee, right? So, which is headed by my successor. So we are going to continue to push that, because that's the only thing that can guarantee the safety of lives and property in Nigeria.
You saw attempts in recent times.
Yes.
I mean, we saw attempts by Southeast, South, even Southwest governors in particular, to come up with what they said was state policing outfits. Well, not state police in that sense, but some security outfits. We saw Moteko, we saw attempts at Ibubiago. In the Southeast in particular, it hasn't quite worked. Ibubiago hasn't taken off as it ought to. Why do you think that's the reason?
You see, these are just panic measures. It's not enduring. And at worst, it's going to be a court anarchy. Right?
This is not because of ESN.
No, I'm not talking about ESN.
I'm saying Ibubiago didn't get off because they were going to have a clash with ESN.
I don't know. It's the governors who answer that one. Because we agreed at People of Southeast that the Ibubiago should be set up. So if there's a delay, I'm not in the position to explain why that happened. It was part of the drafting of the legal document necessary for it. So why it's not in place today, I'm not in a position to answer. Because it's left for the various state government. But I believe.
It doesn't mean that you're not in a position to know. You're just not in a position to answer.
No. I'm not in a position to know. Because some of the state government, they have some organizations, or if you like, institutions, they consider to be security outfits, not necessarily Ibubiago. Some have forest guard and all of that. But I think there was an agreement they reached to set up a uniform security network. They call it Ibubiago. But until now, that has not happened. So I'm not sure what the reason might be, but I believe that every state is taking their own peculiar steps to guide and secure its own territory.
I ask this because we do know that in the in the wake of setting up Ibubiago, I mean, for the states who did try, there were reported clashes. Ebonyi, for instance, reported some clashes between members of the Ibubiago and the Eastern Security Network. And there were fears that, that was going to create a crisis of some sort. One of legitimacy and the second, whether the people were which one the people were going to follow. If both of them were being established for the security of lives of the people of the Southeast.
You see, that's the point I'm making. That those panic measures can only lead to anarchy. Because our solution to our security challenge in Nigeria is to have a constitutional provision for a decentralized policing, right? To have sub-national police. The difference between that and what they are doing is that there will be a law, a constitutional provision that will not only make provision for the establishment of those subnational policing at the state and probably at the local government, but it is also going to make provision for how they are regulated, right? That's what is missing in what the states are doing. They may have their own internal regulation, but that is not enough. So unless we do that, we are going to continue to have this kind of clash.
The problem we have right now is that not a lot more non-state actors are carrying weapons about.
Yes, because we don't want to do the right thing. So if you have legitimate use of force provided for in the Constitution, and you have it in place in 36 states, assuming you have, say, 500 policemen, or no, just say 5,000 policemen or whatever in each state, fighting insecurity there in different states, it's going to overwhelm all the bandits, right? But because the federal police are insufficient, ill-trained, and ill-compensated, sometimes they are discouraged. When they die, nobody cares. So, but if each state sets up their own legitimate and constitutionally provided security outfit, it means that a war against bandits and all of this will be fought in 36 states. But it is not happening because the number of soldiers and police we have are limited. So if you just scatter all over the country, the bandits will overwhelm them.
Senator Ike Eweremadu.
My YouTube channel, you are welcome. Now that we have finished watching this video together, you saw me sitting there watching it together with you. I appreciate you. Let's go to the comment section to talk about it. If it is your first time, subscribe, put on your notification bell. That notification bell is very, very important because